All right, welcome nation to Separation Nation. We're here to do another wonderful podcast. A lot of crazy things going on in the world as we film this, and so we are going to talk about some of those things and how to handle some of those things as best we can, and bring a little different perspective on some of the things that we're dealing with. It's definitely on everybody's mind. It's all over press. I mean, that's all we can think about right now is coronavirus and how it's already affected our nations, affected our homes, our livelihood. As we record this, we're dealing with social distancing. Businesses are shutting down. People are sick. People are dying. We're facing an enemy we've never faced before. I heard somebody say this morning, put it very eloquently, that we are at war and we have a hidden enemy, one that you can't see, one that we are not equipped to fight, one that we don't know. There's so much we don't know that really outweighs what we do know. And so that's just the situation we're in. And I've said many times in life, you can't control situations, but what you can control is how you react to situations. And, I don't want to be insensitive, just not anything we say to be insensitive. And hopefully it doesn't come off that way, because we do realize the severity of this. We do realize that a lot of families have been, all families, if you live in the United States or anywhere else in the world, you're being affected by this in some manner. But I also know that certain people are affected more. And it's very easy to be insensitive and make remarks and say things, about how bad it is to be self-quarantined or the social distancing, what a pain it is. But what you got to realize is there's a lot of people that's dealing with this firsthand. There's people that have this coronavirus. There's people that have died from this. And so I don't want to make light of it at all whatsoever, anything we say. But what I will say is just take the stock market, for instance. We don't give investment advice on this program. A lot of you know I'm an investment advisor, representative, financial advisor. This show's not about that. But I will say this: you can't control the stock market, but you can control how you react, and we're at a time where we don't need to do anything hastily, anything foolishly, make any decisions based on fear, or even make these financial decisions based on current situations that will change. Because this is what I will say about it, about the human race. We will overcome this. We will defeat this. We will, and already are doing everything that we can within our power to fight this, and we will overcome this. And especially in the United States of America, we live in the greatest country. I'll never apologize for saying that. We live in the greatest country there is, and we have the strongest and the hardest people that you'll ever come in contact with. And there's been a lot of things that's tried to take us out, and this virus will be just like the rest of them. It will fail. We will overcome. We will get victory, and we will move on from this. I don't know how quick. And like I said, I've never wanted to be one of those people that has all the answers. I've never had the opinion that I need to necessarily have an opinion or have all the answers on a situation. Like I said, there's a lot of experts out there. We're not medically qualified to talk about anything medical. But what I will say is this, from this standpoint, as a nation, as a community, we got to pull together right now, and we've got to be unified. We've got to be united. We got to be smart. We got to be wise. If you're going to defeat an enemy, it's going to take wisdom. It's going to take doing prudent things that are smart. Social distancing is a must. It's something we have to do. It's very inconvenient. It's very aggravating. There's a lot of things in your day-to-day life, your routine, that you're not going to be able to do. But you'll just have to find different things, to replace your routines. I know I like to go to the gym every day. And me and our producer, Aaron, was talking about this earlier. As long as they keep the gyms open, well, they're shutting the gyms down now. And rightly so, and need to, as we take precautionary measures to do everything we can to limit the spreading of this virus. But that changes the routine. I had to get out and walk today, something I do not necessarily enjoy doing, but I had to get out and I walked 3 miles. And it's just a beautiful day. I was glad to be out and just it's changing my routine, but having a routine I think is very important. But I can still eat healthy, and it's very tempting in times like this to just throw off everything and just concentrate 100% on what's going on, watch the news 24/7. And I don't think that's a great idea. I like to be informed. I keep up with the market. I keep up with what's going on. I do watch the news probably more than I ever have, but I have found myself cutting it off and just being, listening to nothing, just sitting in silence or listening to good music, but quieting the noise. And I wouldn't advise you to live on social media at times like this. And I wouldn't advise you to feel like you need to respond to everything you see on social media, whether you think it's smart or negative or whatever, because what we got to realize in crisis situations, everybody handles things different. I may be the type of person to downplay something. Well, your neighbor might be the type of person to magnify something. You just got to give people grace, and you got to come together and be kind and be nice to one another, realizing that there are certain people that's going to magnify this thing just as big as they can, and there's others that's going to downplay it. You don't necessarily have to take a side on either one. You don't have to have an opinion. But what we do have to do is come together, be kind to each other, support each other. And I'll say this and I'll shut up, Justin. I know I'm rambling on, but um, churches have been canceled. Restaurants are closing down. Our coffee shop across the street, I put a picture on social media yesterday where they had moved a little sign or a cart to the end of the street, still selling coffee. Walk up to the window and get coffee because people are having to be innovative. They're having to improvise and do things, step out of the box. Because listen, life has to go on. This life is different, but it has to go on. People still have to work. People still have to make money. Support your local businesses. Support your restaurants. Get takeout. You can't eat out, but you can get takeout if you can afford it, and it's something that you can do. Support those local restaurants. Churches have been canceled all over the United States Sunday morning, but guess what you can still do? You can still worship in your own home. You can still talk to God. You can still bring some sort of normalcy to your family. That routine where you normally would get in your car and drive to a place of worship, guess what? Just do it in your living room. However you worship, do that, have that time. There's never been a more important time to turn to God than we're in this situation now. I mean, something else that's very important. Churches aren't meeting on Sunday, but guess what? You can still give. You can still pay, give offerings. You can still pay tithes if you believe in paying tithes, and that's what you do. I would encourage you, get online. Most every organization now can receive funds online. Support them financially because, listen, bills still got to be paid, and people have still got to carry on through this. So do your part. Do everything you can. Come together, and we're going to get through this.
Well, thought comes to mind. I mean, greatness is born in times of adversity, and so we talk about people that's half empty, half full type folks, and a lot of people have a proclivity one way or another. But I mean, to be quite frank and honest, we were thinking about what we were going to shoot this particular podcast on today. And part of me was like, the last thing I want to hear anymore about, especially my own mouth have to say or talk about, is this, COVID-19, this coronavirus. And because, I mean, you just really, you pump with it so much. I mean, you can't go nowhere. Yesterday, I was on the golf cart yesterday evening with my kids, that's become a daily thing now where we used to just maybe take a Sunday afternoon ride or whatever, where as a family, get on the golf cart, ride through the golf course, and just get out and enjoy nature a little bit. Sit in front of some of the ponds. We had a little picnic yesterday evening, and just trying to get innovative. And so, on how dealing with our time, we got 3 kids in the house, so it can. Those of you that are parents, I know some of you is probably about to go crazy. But by this time already, I think we're 10 days in to the 15-day mandate from President Trump asking us to practice this group parties of 10 or less and social distancing. But I turned on the radio on my golf cart to find a radio station. And literally, I went through 7 different stations. And on everyone, literally, every time I stopped trying to find a station, it was the word. In other words, whoever was talking was actually saying coronavirus. So 7 times in a row. And just to give you an example, I mean, that's just, you literally can't go nowhere, do nothing without it being in front of your face. And, there is something that I believe is a universal truth, and that's what we focus on, we empower. What we think about, we bring about. What we think on, we bring on. And those things are magnified. So, I'm not the person that's going to tell you not to watch the news at all, but I am going to tell you need to get the basic facts, and then you need to go on the rest of the day and be productive. I've tried to catch the first few minutes of, every day President Trump is coming on and doing the address to the nation and get the latest facts. I watch a few minutes of that to get them facts, and I'm not even going, to finish the whole thing. I'm going to turn it off, move on about my day, be productive, get my mind right, get my mind on what I can control. Because in times of adversity, again, I believe greatness is born. And especially in the life and the history of the American entrepreneur, I mean, if you're an actual entrepreneurial person and that root is in you, times like this is when, out of necessity and out of our ability to be fluid and to be moldable and to be able to adjust and adapt to our environment, is times that great new ideas, great new things come about due to this. And listen, trouble don't last always. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And I'm here to tell you, there's always a morning. And so you just got to focus on that. And yeah, it sucks right now. You lock down, trying to stay away, or most folks probably are, and trying to keep their distance. And it's disrupted life. You can't go to the movies if you want to. I mean, we've got trips in the insurance business. We were supposed to be headed off to an exotic locale, the island of Curacao. All expense paid, 7 days, and actually getting a first time ever award presented to us. The whole actually very prestigious award. The whole thing's been canceled.
They're gonna still give us an award, I hope.
Yeah, I hope we will
Maybe they
still get
mail
the
it to
award. But anyway, I'm sure, and the insurance companies. We're in the insurance business as well, and so if you're listening to this, they'll make that right, and we'll end up doing something for it later on. Obviously, it's out of their control, out of our control, but it's disrupted a lot of life. And last night riding the golf cart, that's all you can do. We live out there at the country club, and ran into a lot of other entrepreneurial people that you know, got their own planes, can fly where they want to go, do what they want to do, and everybody's staying at home. And one fella said, me and my wife was flying out to, he named some island down in the Bahamas, St. Martin or somewhere, I believe, tomorrow morning. He said, we've obviously canceled that. We're just hanging out here trying to see what this thing does. And, so I would just encourage people. There's several things I'm going to mention before we get done with this podcast, but, you know, you got to understand that there's in times like this when you can't control everything, what you can control is your productivity. And now's the time that, listen, continue to focus on your health, continue to focus, get creative with your exercise regimen, create a schedule. Don't just sit at home and do nothing all day with your kids. My wife actually, cribbed off of something she's seen online, created a schedule to do schooling with the kids throughout the day, to break up the monotony, school time, creative time, outdoor time. And she's got this whole schedule worked out, and we've done our best to stick to it. With the children throughout the day. But, just to stay about business. Take this time. If you can't go out and do what you do on a daily basis, if you're working from home or whatever, or maybe your work is halted altogether, this is a time. I mean, there's still money out there. There's still money to be made. There's still things to do. There's still personal development. Great time right now for you to continue to read, work on your personal development, but you need to stay busy doing the right things, because you can't control everything, but you can control your productivity.
Yeah, and that's a big key. They say idle hands is devil's playground, a workshop, something like that. But it is true. You just at least during the day, turn the TV off, get off of social media, read a book, play an instrument, do something. You know, if you can't go to the gym, you can still walk, you can still run, you can still do push-ups, sit-ups. Do something to keep your body moving, keep your mind busy. And because fear will destroy us. Fear is one of the biggest enemies out there. And everybody's afraid. Listen, I'm not making like everybody's scared to death of this stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. Nothing. Talked to a 75-year-old man earlier today. He said it's the damnedest thing he's ever seen in all his life. And I agree with him. But listen, you got to have confidence knowing that we live in the greatest nation in the world, and that we have leadership, we have medical staff, we have scientists. But this thing will be defeated. We will come out the other end stronger, and it will be defeated. And we don't, we just can't live in fear. We got to. We can't go about our normal routine. We can't go about our daily lives as we could, but we can still. It's like what Justin said. I come home, still able to go to the office. We're not seeing clients right now in the office, but I'm still coming in. It's just two or three of us up here at a time. We're staying, within all of the guidelines. But when I come home, my kids are sitting around the table, still doing schoolwork. Still, my wife's just like, same thing Brandy's doing, just keeping the kids, busy, keeping them active, because you got to stay sane, man, and realize this, that your spouse, they may be more afraid than they let on, or this is the time we got to pull together more than ever and be there for each other, keep each other. My wife and I went on a walk today. When I leave here and get done shooting this podcast, we're gonna get on the golf cart and go play some golf. I'm gonna play golf. She's gonna drive me around. Stuff that we normally wouldn't do. It's not in our normal routine, but we're creating our own routine. We call it a coronavirus routine around our house. I mean, what we got to do to keep our sanity, to keep our mind right, to focus on each other. Because listen, you can focus on fear, you can focus on the headlines, you can focus on this. Because I tell you this, turn the news on for about an hour and watch it, and you'll be depressed. I don't care who you are and how mentally stable you are, you'll be depressed. But you turn it off and focus on your family. Focus on your faith. Focus on your fitness. Focus on your health. Focus on something other than the problem. Because if you focus on the problem, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so let's focus on the things that we can, and don't quit. Like you said, there's still, your work's going to be different. You can't, most of us can't travel. Most of us can't do the thing, but we can still work. We can still do certain things. I've been on the telephone nonstop all week, still talking to clients, still touching people, still trying to generate as much movement as possible. And those are things that are crucial. It's what we got to do.
Your state determines your fate. We've said it 100 times on here. So, I mean, your mindset is everything. So, keeping your mind right, again, even if your job, if you worked at a restaurant, you got nowhere to go now, no work to do. Listen, take this time. I'm gonna tell you. I mean, this could be the best thing ever happened to you. Some of you out there might have been stuck in dead end jobs, might have been stuck just living in mediocrity, might have just accepted this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. I've tried this and that before, and nothing worked out. Listen, this may be the time. I mean, you sit and think about your life. Think about what goals that you used to have, dreams that you used to have. This may be the time to reboot, hit the restart button on life. And listen, I still believe that some of the greatest things, again, greatness comes and is born in times of adversity. And so don't sit there and just like a zombie through this deal and watch Netflix and eat Cheetos until you can't roll off the couch. Okay. I mean, take your time, sit down, be intentional about trying to look at your life. Take this time to evaluate what you've made of your life up until this point, where you want to go, but state determines your fate. It's time to get your mind right, get things figured out, and, you know, worry is interest paid on a debt that's not due. And I'm just going to refuse to worry. Now, I've had some people during times like this, I don't post a lot of like statuses on Facebook or anything like that. Now, we post our business pages, and my personal page shares it daily, a motivational meme or quote and stuff like that. But those couple times a day is about all we post. So I don't really type anything personal or get real involved in current events until something like this happens. But I'm just going to be honest about me. I mean, you know, I do my best and I catch some stones for it. But I mean, I'm going to share some funny memes. I'm going to share some funny posts. I'm not going to make light of the tragedy. But now I am going to do my best to be a voice of reason to tell people, listen, those of you that's fear mongering and going crazy and, sharing all this excessive stuff made me so mad the other day. I got on there and people that should know better is sharing YouTube videos where it's, a train loaded down with Humvees and tanks and all this stuff riding through what looks like the country, and all the people's grabbing their face and freaking out. Well, that was something in the last virus that they shared. When I clicked on the YouTube video, that thing was from 2012, 2013, and they're sharing it now. I guess they're too dumb to look at what the date was on the thing, or maybe they know and just want to stir the pot. And they're writing paragraphs about how martial law's coming, they fixing to lock you in your house, and everybody get ready and all that. And listen, there may be a day that does come, but sitting here, false evidence appearing real and jacking people's emotions all up. I mean, there's enough real problems with this virus that's a real issue. And I know it's touching real people. It's touching real people in our community. My own daughter, where she goes to school, one of the children's mother has it now. I mean, so it's a real deal. But all this fear mongering, through the media, through social media and what people share, a lot of just the ridiculousness. I've done my best to be positive, to keep it light to a certain extent, you know, and I've had some smart ass comments back from people, but I know how to delete them off of there, and just I ain't got time to get in no back and forth with nobody. I'm too busy being productive. But do your best, folks, to be positive, share positivity. One of the greatest thing I seen yesterday is somebody shared something, and it said, I know it's bad right now. I know you're locked in your home right now. I know you're worried about how you're going to get food and toilet paper. God knows how this damn thing turned into toilet paper. But anyhow, crazy, some shit I ever seen. And, how we going to get food, how we going to get meat, all this kind of stuff. So, and they shared all that. But listen, but then what they said is there's going to come a day that the toilet paper is going to be back on the shelf, that the meat counter is going to be full again, that your job is you're going to get a call when everybody's going to say go back to work, and we're going to get to all go out to dinner again and go to a movie again and share a meal together again. And don't you think when they open this back up that the movies is going to be packed, the restaurants is going to be lines wrapped around them to get back in them because people's going to be so sick of sitting at home and eating bologna sandwiches. Listen, great days is coming again. Trouble don't last always, all right? And it came to pass. It didn't come to stay. You always seen that even all throughout the Bible, and it came to pass. The point is, this is going to pass, people, and it's going to move through, and it's going to do what it's going to do. And all we can do is be as wise as we can be, wash our hands, okay, practice good hygiene, follow the mandates best we can from the government, avoid large groups, but I mean, listen, don't if you best you can, don't allow yourself to just worry, because you're gonna worry yourself to death over stuff that you can't control no how. And I watched a reporter earlier today when President Trump was giving his address, just continue to try to corner President Trump up, saying, do you feel like you're giving Americans a sense of false hope? Are you being too optimistic? Let me tell you something. All the assholes in this world that just feed off of negativity and want to attack and tear down every leader that you don't 100% agree with, whether you like them or not. This podcast isn't about politics. It isn't about policy. And we sure ain't no doctors. We're not getting into no statistics and talking about, I mean, we got plenty of doctor friends. I thought about having one on here, but you ain't going to hear nothing you ain't already heard if you're watching the news at all. So it's pointless. What we're here to address today is your state of mind, how to take and lead people around you through this, and how to be an anchor and beacon of hope. When that reporter looked at him and said, "You trying to give America false hope," I about shouted at the TV. Not because I'm running around with a Trump shirt on, but my God, why would you not want hope? In what situation would you not want to have hope? And let me tell you something about leadership. Being positive in a negative situation is not being naive. It's called being a leader. And that's what people don't understand. Being positive, I'm going to say it one more time. Being positive in a negative situation is not somebody being naive. It's not naivety. It is leadership. And if you can't give people hope, my God, what are you going to give them?
And it's times like these when leaders have to lead, and leaders will step up and lead. And we need leaders, and we need hope. and because that's something that you can't put a price tag on. And just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, everybody deals with things differently. Everybody deals with crisis differently. Some people are going to crack jokes and just to lighten the mood. And listen, that might not be your style, but don't condemn them for it, man. This is just everybody deals with things differently. And and
And on that, real quick, I
yeah, go
watched a
ahead.
guy in public safety that's well known here in Valdosta had to write this whole thing on social media the other day, basically telling people because they were nurses and doctors and paramedics, people was getting attacked for just trying to be a little bit lighthearted. They're not making light of COVID-19.
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
But I mean, that guy got on there and wrote, he said, "You don't understand to do what we do and to deal with the death and the disease and the trauma and the families and to know what it's like to be working on somebody's mother or their daughter or their son and a mom, dad is somebody's behind you, pounding on your back saying, 'My God, save my baby.' To be able to live like that." And I'm familiar with that. My dad was paramedic. My brother was a paramedic. My dad was chief of Tiff County EMS for many years here in Georgia, and so I grew up around the fire station. I grew up around the EMS station. I know what it's like. Them guys have to be able to joke, to be able to do what they do, so they don't mentally crack every day. So, in this time, it'd go a long way for everybody to just love one another, learn to be empathetic about one another and their backgrounds, and to have some elasticity and some grace and some mercy, and to quit judging people. This isn't a time for judgment. It's a time to support those folks. But everybody's not going, in light of what John just said, everybody's not going to view everything the way you do.
And I'll tell you one thing I did see that was very encouraging. I saw last night because I'm just like you. My golf cart's got had more miles put on it this week probably than all year because it's beautiful weather in South Georgia. Other than the pollen, I got no complaints. And so just beautiful weather, no complaints with weather. But went on my fourth golf cart ride yesterday by myself. Just riding around, having a cocktail and a cigar, and go through my neighborhood. And what I did see was community coming together. People on golf cart stop, distance, safe distance from each other, 6 feet, whatever. But just stop talking. People are being neighborly again. People are, this virus. Yes, it's bringing separation. We're social distancing, but it's also bringing people together. People are talking on the phone to their parents more than they ever have. People are talking to brothers and sisters. There is some good that is coming in a negative situation, and I saw it last night. I'd go by houses and people just parked out front, just talking, just socializing because it's important that we come together. Never before, as a nation, has it been so important that we come together as a people to live, to love, to laugh together, and that's what's going to defeat this thing. Yeah, sure, we got to distance ourselves. We got to be safe. We got to practice good hygiene. We got to wash our hands until they start to crack. That's how my hands will do. But coming together as a people, loving each other, giving it like you said, giving each other grace, giving each other mercy, and this will be just like like everything else that's come against this nation. And I keep singling out this nation. I know this is a worldwide pandemic, but listen, I live in America, and so I'm concerned with me and mine. I'm concerned with the Chinese. I'm concerned with the Italian. I'm concerned with everybody. But as a nation here, I can speak for this nation. We will defeat this worldwide. We will be on the forefront, and we will defeat this, and it will affect the entire world, the entire globe. But this will too, like you said, this too shall pass.
Yeah. Well, and listen, everything that you had planned, again, I know it stinks this time of year. A lot of things happen. I'm seeing people cancel weddings left and right. This was one of the biggest social events at our country club of the year, member guest weekend. And I know we look forward to this yearly. That's, stuff's canceled, but it'll be rescheduled. The economy's coming back. Your favorite restaurant's going to open again. And until then, bless God, you can still order from it in most cases. So one of our favorite Italian restaurants we're ordering from tonight and having it brought in because that's our normal Friday night thing. And so, listen, we making the best of it. just like I know all of you are, and doing the best we can to do that. So, listen, just be encouraged. There's plenty of great podcasts out there on top of ours, plenty of resources and people that's positive and that know how to help coach you through these situations. For some of you that feel like you struggle a little more with fear, and hopefully we'll be one of them. And we got several more podcasts we're shooting next week, and I think you're going to find incredibly enlightening. We've got Todd Saylor going to be on the podcast, entrepreneur, business person, national speaker. He's just wrote a book called Wired Differently. More energy than you're going to be able to take. I can tell you that right now. We're going to be doing a 2-part series with Todd. I just spoke with him on the phone yesterday. I answered the phone, and as soon as I said hello, he said, I'm still coming, right? And I said, yeah, I figured you would. So, and just a great mind, great business mind, uh, phenomenal outlook on world events. And so I'm sure we'll be retouching some of this when we shoot those podcasts next week. So look for those to be coming. And I really do. My personal opinion is to date, it's probably going to be the most energetic. You'll be wanting to headbutt a wall when you listen to those with Todd Saylor on there, because he knows how to get you fired up. And so we're really looking forward to that. So just continue to do that, and we're continuing to grow all over the world. To be honest with you, I was looking at the stats again yesterday. So be sure, to help us support the podcast, get the message out there. That's why we're on here talking today. It's about support, about love, positivity, helping you grow as a person, a business owner, and everything's going to be okay. Let not your heart be troubled, and we will. Everything's going to be okay. Okay. So listen, make sure you're subscribing to the podcast on the audio platforms as well as on YouTube, and continue to help us share the message. We appreciate you. Until next time, we'll see you again here on Separation Nation.